We got to start with Alabama and Florida State because everything that happened yesterday had some surprises. But to me, that was the most shocking thing that we saw in the sport. And a lot of people are going to start with talking about, Kalen DeBoer and how bad Alabama is. I'm going to go a little bit a different way. I want to make sure we give credit and give the flowers to Mike Norvell and Gus Malzahn and Tony White and Tommy Castellanos and Chroma and Salcha and that wide receiver room and that Florida State defense. That to me was more about Florida State being back than it was about Alabama not having a good performance. Because at the end of the day, when you play this transfer portal, roller coaster ride that Mike Norvell does, the biggest question we had was, how can you replace the trenches? Not only did they replace them, but they beat Alabama to death. And I mean, David, just starting with you, to me, it's not just that Alabama lost. It's how they got beat. And that was up front.
Jake, you just hit the nail on the head. The conversation over here at my house was obviously, okay, does this say more about Alabama or Florida State? And I said it has to say more about Florida State because while every football game says a lot about both teams, and maybe Alabama is a little bit less good than we thought, Florida State is clearly way better than we thought. And this was the big question. 2 years ago, they go undefeated, win the ACC by leaning on the transfer portal. A year ago, they go 2-10. You should never go 2-10 at a place like Florida State. Thomas Castellanos runs his mouth the entire offseason, says Alabama doesn't have Nick Saban to save him, and then he backs it up. And they rushed for 236 yards. I understand Tim Keenan wasn't in the game. I understand Alabama had some serious injuries, but 236 yards rushing absolutely bullied them. I had to I was blinking. Like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And what made it even more weird to me is, and this is why I have my notes, every note I take throughout every drive of a game, Ty Simpson started out awesome. Yeah. I'm writing things down like Ty Simpson, live arm, great feet. Alabama's going to be great. The rest of the 3.5 quarters, I'm like, what happened, man? Florida State on both sides of the ball bullied you.
Well, and to your point, Cone, what I thought was the most ironic thing was we sat here and look, I'll crow when I'm right and eat crow when I'm wrong. And there's a long way to go. This Alabama team we'll see. But, what was ironic to me is the biggest question we were asking was, and I think we asked it last week, was, Blaine, what's going to happen with the first time something goes bad for Florida State? Like, are they going to be able to have the mental fortitude to bounce back? Well, in an unbelievable stroke of irony, it was the first thing that happened bad to Alabama, that they were the ones that shrunk. Dog, y'all get the ball and go march 17 plays.
Yeah.
On script, on time, FU up front, adult runs, right? Nothing sexy from Ty Simpson. Feeling good. Florida State doesn't cave because you have a stupid penalty that extends the drive as well. But Florida State goes down and scores and answers you. And then Blaine, they just crumbled. It was like somebody pissed in their snow cone machine. Like, it was.
That suck.
It's so wild to see an Alabama team that just folds like a wilted flower, and Florida State just kept doing it. I mean, Blaine, Bama. What was it? They didn't have positive rushing yards until somewhere like halfway through the third quarter after that first drive. It just blew my mind.
Well, I mean, you really find out about a team, you find out about an offense and a quarterback when you do what? You get off script. And I think when Alabama was on script, I mean, they looked like one of the best teams in the country. When they got off script, right, Ty Simpson started to do what? Press. His feet weren't great in the pocket. He'd immediately see ghosts and run out. But I tell you what, if you're an Alabama fan, and I'm not coming from an Auburn standpoint, but the last guy you ever want to see again is Gus Malzahn. Gus Malzahn has signed his life, made a deal with somebody at a crossroads. You said to say, you know what? I just want to beat Alabama. And I thought Gus did such a good job with motions, eye candy, Castellanos, even the throws that he had to make were crazy tough throws. The wheel was probably the toughest one. And the thing about it is that blew my mind is Alabama just looked tentative.
Yeah.
Scared to go. Right? They're waiting in the hole, not going to get people, not excited on defense. I remember when Alabama had a bunch of killers, murderers running around on the Reuben Fosters, just somewhat, you know what, close your eyes and go run into a brick wall. And now it just looked like Alabama wasn't ready to play, especially in that second quarter. And you go to the offense, and it comes to Ryan Williams. Look, man, you can't paint your nails and not catch the ball. You can't have an anxiety teddy bear and not go out there and catch the ball. Bernard is the best receiver on Alabama's team right now to me, the way he played. But Ty Simpson, you can tell he's a young quarterback. That defense was a letdown. Trust me, Keenan can't come in and save you. And Alabama just looked like they weren't ready to play. When's the last time you saw somebody talk shit about Alabama and then come in and back it up? It's been forever. It's now we've been morphed, our brains, into seeing Alabama being so dominant. That is gone. Alabama looked like a mediocre team yesterday, and I don't think it's just because they played bad.
Well, I mean, Cone, when you look at again, Florida State's offensive line and defensive line and the ability to play on the other team's line of scrimmage, that was the story to me, because it seemed like after the first quarter, to Blaine's point, Ty Simpson, who he looked a lot like in the pocket, David? And I haven't heard anybody else say this yesterday. You know who he reminded me of? Watched him. I told Blaine this at halftime. I was like, oh, buddy, looks like Peyton Thorne right now to me.
Oh, not on the first drive, but
outside the first. Well, what's crazy is sometimes Peyton would have that first drive, but then all of a sudden, the pressure starts to heat up a little bit, and you're taking off out of the pocket, right? Your feet. If you watched his feet yesterday, Ty never looked comfortable in the pocket after that first drive. There was a couple throws and tough-ass runs that he made, breaking tackles and this, that, or the other, and I think he has the ability. But again, the confidence, I'm so used to watching Bama and being like, all right, how are they going to find a way to win this game? And when the punt was dropped and muffed, I was like, okay, here we go. But every time, Florida State, to Mike Norvell's credit, and everybody talking about Gus Malzahn today, and I get that. He didn't do anything that he hasn't done in the past. You got that jet sweep motion. You got power read. You got Q power. He's going to give you that eye candy. He's going to give you misdirection, then hit you with a reverse. The star of the day to me was Tony White and what this defense did at Florida State. And the total reversal. Guys, Alabama rushing, Kevin Riley, 5 for 31. Richard Young, 9 for 26. Ty Simpson, 9 for 17. You shut down the run game. You shut down the big plays. They really only hurt you on a 17-play drive to start off the game, and I'd rather give it up early. Bro, I'm outside of Jeremy Bernard hitting you for $1.50 and some waffle fries. Tony White's defense locked Alabama down yesterday. I'm as impressed with Tony White as I am Gus Malzahn.
I'll say something about both quarterbacks and then both head coaches. Ty Simpson, if he can replicate what he did on the first drive for the majority of a game, Alabama's still going to win a lot of football games, right? Like, I don't think we're in a situation where they're going to do what Florida State did last year, but I'll get to the coaching in a second. Thomas Castellanos, the proposition that I put to you guys in our upset episode that we did this week was, he's going to have to figure out a way to do what he does best for an entire game and then not do anything that he does poorly in terms of like erratic plays and turn the football over. And man, did he deliver on that. It was actually fascinating to watch. It was like watching Kyler Murray or something. But again, all credit to Mike Norvell for not panicking, because this Florida State team, ever since they didn't get selected for the college football playoff, they went on to play Georgia in the bowl game. They got broken in 2 pieces, won 2 games a year ago. This guy never panicked. He said, what do? We solved the problem. Let's go get 2 great coordinators, bring them in, and now look how they've started this season. But on the Alabama front, Blaine, I get that they're not hoarding the best players in the country like they used to be able to under Nick Saban, but they still have a lot of really good players. And I'm watching a head coach on the sideline right now just look like a deer in headlights. Yeah. I'm watching Georgia is up by 45 points, and Kirby Smart is slinging his headset all around. Do we even care on the sideline? Say what you will about what Will Muschamp, his head coaching career, but I knew that dude cared at least when he's running up and down the sidelines. And I'm not saying this coaching staff doesn't care, because I know personally a lot of these coaches on the staff, and they're great guys, they're smart guys, they're going to be great head coaches. But still, the vibe doesn't look right on the sideline when I look at Alabama. And now we have an entire sample size last year without Nick Saban. And so far we're 1 game in. And how many losses do they have to non-ranked teams? 4. The same amount Nick Saban had in an 18-year tenure at Alabama. Not great.
Well, Blaine, again, and you go back to the one season, it felt like Nick Saban struggled at Alabama in his first. I mean, he inherited basically nothing. He had to build it from the ground up, and then he built it. Kalen DeBoer inherited a Ferrari and doesn't know and just can't figure out how to turn it on. Well, it's like he's sitting in the garage. He just can't figure it out.
Yeah, like, the thing with me is you can tell there's a mentality change
for sure
at Alabama, and that's what, if I'm an Alabama fan, that's what I would be afraid of most. You're not going to be able to hoard the talent that what Nick Saban did. It's just nobody can do that now. I don't care who it is; it's just impossible to do. But the intensity is gone, and your team is a direct reflection of your head coach. And David, I agree with you. Kalen DeBoer just on the sidelines or how to deal with it, and the Alabama team on offense and defense just looked unsure of what they were seeing. And you can't play tentative when you go against a team like Florida State. It sounded like Florida State just came out, spreaded it around, threw it here, threw it there. Florida State lined up and just whipped your ass up front. Okay,
fourth and one in the big gap.
Physically,
you remember fourth and one?
They physically beat you up. And I can't remember the last time I saw a team, really, maybe Michigan last year, but you thought it was going to be a new year. And I thought Ryan Grubb did not call a great game.
No, once he got
I did not at all. I thought he got away from the run too much. Early downs and put it all on Ty Simpson. Look, this is Ty Simpson's first legitimate start going at Florida State. All right, he's not going to be perfect, and we know that. But I don't think Ryan Grubb helped him out at all. Obviously, you can't take sacks, but you were having success in the running game early, and you went away from that on early downs and it put Ty Simpson in a bad spot. And the Alabama defense, to me, it's not even close right now. If you're not going to be the best athletes, you better have the best motor. And Florida State was way more intense from start to finish in that football game.
Well, the two things, and I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, because we have a lot of people that listen on the West Coast, and we love you guys, and y'all are the best and everything. But it's looking, Alabama to me is starting to turn into a finesse West Coast football team. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
It's not and again, Blaine, your point is valid. It's well taken. You're not going to be able to hoard all that talent up front, but it's still Alabama. Look at the way you've recruited. You should dominate the line of scrimmage in 90% of the games you play, or you should have an FU attitude about it and cause some damage while you're trying to do it. They're not doing that. It looks like that you have a therapist, not a coach. Being a therapist is a part of coaching. It's not the job of coaching. And attitude does reflect leadership. But, oh, boy, looks confused on the sidelines. Kalen DeBoer looks confused on the sidelines. Every time they show him, he's like the sun's in his eyes. It's just, why can't we just line up and be better than what we're doing right now? So,
Alabama fans are seeing that, man, because my phone was blowing up the whole time. And both of you just hit on important points, because here's the last three notes that I took watching this game. One, Alabama has abandoned the run. Blaine, you touched on that. Yeah. Ryan Williams is overrated. That's just a line I didn't think I'd be writing down in week one here watching Alabama. And then the last one was, quote unquote, this is from the announcers in the game, quote unquote, creative ways. Alabama needs to find creative ways to have success against Florida State. Jake, this is the point you were alluding to. I wrote out creative ways. Line up and hand the football off and be better than the team in front of you. That's the Alabama I know. You know how creative we were in high school running the wishbone? The play was either 34 or 45 off tackle, and we'll probably tell you which way it's going, because
even
we
to the right, odds to the left.
We're not getting creative, brother. We're just better than you, and I just don't think that's the situation in Tuscaloosa anymore.
Well, it's so here's, again, I'm more fascinated with how good is this Florida State team. After watching Clemson last night, Clemson I thought looked pretty good in some spots. You had one guy that got hurt. We're going to get into that.
So can they win the ACC? Can Florida State win the ACC?
Yes. I can't wait to watch Miami today.
They play Miami at home. They play Clemson on the road. Obviously, they have an out-of-conference game at Florida, but that won't affect them in the ACC.
Yeah, I think this Florida State team's good. If they're going to play like that, and Castellanos is a perfect fit for that. It's Nick Marshall, zero sugar. That's what it is. That's what he is in that system with Gus Malzahn. Bro, I'm looking at the schedule FSU may be back. They may be back. Again, but on the FSU side, hell yeah, you get your flowers. To just kind of put a bow on it, for the Alabama side, I do think Alabama is in a position where that rarely you're in, where you have good enough players to fix it and still be really good. This isn't oh no, all of our players suck. We're just bad. We're a bad football team. We can't get better. Bama can get better, But guys, it's the culture that has to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't flip overnight. Like that's the scariest thing if you're an Alabama fan, like Blaine said, is like all of a sudden now I walk in and instead of just the normal chairs, we got beanbag chairs and there's, like peace, love, and throw the screen on a poster on the wall. And, you got MSNBCs on like in the weight room. Like this just feels real.
You knew it was different when the reports are, hey, this year we're going to be different. We're not allowed to be late to meetings anymore.
It's like when Nick Saban was there, it was almost like he did his own startup, right?
Yeah.
He did his own startup. He worked his ass off. He knew everything that goes in and out of this company. And then you sold to Google, and that's when Kalen DeBoer came. Now you have nap pods, right? Have team communication meetings and stuff like that. It's just
communication.
I will say this, and I caught a lot of hell for this. I just didn't think Ryan Williams was that great in the first place. I thought he caught one big pass against Georgia, did a couple spins, and went and scored a touchdown, and then everybody freaked out. I didn't even think he was the best receiver on his football team, and we kind of saw that yesterday. But I will say I will say this. I think Florida State is an extremely good football team. If they keep doing what they're doing, they'll have a shot for the ACC. Alabama has the players to turn this around. And I think there's a perfect opportunity for Ty Simpson to grow, right? And Alabama's not used to having to play from behind. So now the expectations are Alabama sucks. They're going to be a mediocre football team in the SEC. I think this is a perfect opportunity for Kalen DeBoer to turn this around. I'm sure whoever they play next week, they're going to absolute murder. But Alabama has the athletes to go far in this college football season. It's just a couple things they're missing, and kind of got hit on the other day. Since they don't have that true edge guy. Right, where they don't have that Will Anderson.
Yeah.
They don't have that Dallas Turner, that difference maker on the edge, right? I thought the secondary did not play well at all. It's just you feel for Kalen DeBoer because I like Kalen DeBoer as a person. Right?
Yeah, I'd probably rather hang out with him than Nick Saban, but we're not talking about hanging out.
Yeah, I know, and I promise you right now that seat warmer, all right, is all the way up.
How hot is it?
It's as hot as they can get.
So
there's no way it's hotter.
Yeah.
Like I agree with Blaine.
And I don't know if you can fire him. He's signed through like 2031.
But Bama, if anybody will put you on the raft early, even though they got to, pay you lots of monies, it's going to be Alabama for football. I mean, you got ULM, poor Vincent, what they're going to do to them. Then you get Wisconsin at home. Then you go to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, obviously you're going to beat ULM. You should still beat Wisconsin. Man, you go lose at Georgia.
I don't know if y'all saw what I saw. First of all, what a cover by Marshall. Second of all, Georgia is massive.
Yeah.
Marshall, by the way, Tony Gibson was our secondary coach under Rich Rodriguez when I was at Michigan. Good to see he's still the head man at Marshall. But yeah, again, I want to stress that in a 12-team college football playoff era, it's less about the losses, right? Like they lost at Florida State. You could go on the road and lose to Georgia. You're not going to be favored in that game. You're 10-2. The Buckeyes were 10-2 a year ago. They were a clean sweep in the playoff and they're national champs. Yes, Alabama could do that. It's more about what you look like and not having any fight. Where's the fight? Like lose going down in a dog fight. That's what I've seen Georgia do under Kirby Smart.
Yeah. I mean, look, FSU they wanted it more and they outdogged you. And that if you're an FSU fan, we talk about, hey, if FSU keeps it close, they should feel good that they don't suck. Look, if I'm an FSU fan this morning, I'm waking up, it's natty or bust. After that performance.
It felt like Floyd Mayweather Jr. to me. Like watching someone talk that much trash and then go out there and no one can lay a glove on you. It reminded me of Floyd Mayweather.
That was Castellanos. Again, you talked it and you backed it up. Mad respect. Like obviously mad respect for Castellanos. But we want to know in the chat, what do you guys think? I mean, is DeBoer cooked? Like is he honestly cooked? Because if they go 8-4, guys, I think they're gonna fire him. If they go 8-4 and they lose to Auburn, they're gonna fire this guy. And people say the buy out this, buy out that, blase. Look, I really believe they.
A lot of season left. College football fans are really good at overreacting.
Yeah.
All right. I think Alabama will somewhat fix it, put it on the tracks, and I think you'll see a better game. Versus, they're going to kill Wisconsin. I mean, Wisconsin's terrible.
Yeah, especially if that quarterback's hurt.
That Georgia game, I think, will be a little closer than what people think. So I think Alabama fans, panic, but don't panic too much.
Don't burn the don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into the vault you built and shut it and let the bombs hit on the surface. It's not Fallout yet, but hey, we're having some people say some things that are kind of scaring everybody.
We're bringing in the generals.
Go get some canned peaches or something.
Yeah, we're bringing in the generals, and we're asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it right now. But let us know again in the comments, what do you think? What do you think about Florida State? Can they win a national championship? And again, make sure you hit that subscribe and hit that like button.